This is problem number 3 on the practice problems for test number 1. Are the graphs of the equations below parallel or perpendicular or neither to the line y equals 5x plus 1? So if you see the word parallel or perpendicular, you're supposed to immediately think about slope. So I'm just going to write 2 facts that we'll need for this problem up here at the top. Parallel lines have equal slopes, and perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. So the first thing we need to do is find the slope of all 4 of the lines that we've got here. So the slope of the original line, slope of this one, because it looks like y equals mx plus b, we know that the slope right away here is 5. So that's going to be an important number for us. The slope of the given line is 5, and we're going to compare the slopes of the other 3 lines to the slope of the given line. So this equation right here also happens to be in y equals mx plus b form, so we can immediately pick off the slope. It's -5. The next equation we have work to do because it doesn't look like y equals mx plus b. So we need to make it look like y equals mx plus b. So let's get the y by itself. First thing to do is subtract the 1. Next thing to do is divide both sides by -5. Okay, so we've succeeded in solving for y. The goal is to get y by itself, and we did, but the goal is also to make the right-hand side look like some number times x plus some other number, and we haven't done that yet. So we need to do just a tiny bit more work here to this equation at the bottom. And the work we need to do is to split this equation up into 2 fractions. Split the left-hand side up into 2 fractions. So that -5 can go on the bottom of 2 different fractions. There's an x, there's a 1, there's a subtraction sign in between the 2 fractions. And it's almost there. Again, the goal is to get some number times x. So what is that number? Well, we're just going to peel that x off of this fraction. There's definitely a -5 down there. What am I peeling off the x from? Well, it was 1x. We don't need to write it, but there is a 1 invisible up there. And then I'll go ahead and write the other part of this, -1 over -5 equals y. And now finally, after all that work, we've got the slope, because the slope is sitting in front of the x. It now looks like y equals mx plus b. I don't care about the b. I just want the slope, and I found it. It's -1/5. I'm going to put that up here. And let's just do the last one. Y equals 5x plus 9. So this one is very friendly because it's already in mx plus b form. So we can pick off the slope right away. It's 5. Okay, so going back to the highlighted in yellow slope, the slope of the original line was 5. So that means that this green one over here is exactly the same. So that means this green one here is parallel, because the slopes were exactly the same. They were both 5. Okay, again, thinking about that highlighted slope of 5, if I want the opposite reciprocal, that is to say a perpendicular line, the opposite reciprocal of 5 is -1/5. If you need to see this 5 as a fraction, put it over 1. So that means the reciprocal would be 1/5, but opposite, so change the sign, makes it -1/5. And look at the line here in red, we've got a slope of exactly -1/5. So that means that this line right here is perpendicular. One in the middle, perpendicular. The line here in the middle is perpendicular to the original line because the slopes were opposite reciprocals. And then finally, the first line here in blue, the slope is -5. The slope of the given line highlighted in yellow is +5. So they are opposites, but they're not opposite reciprocals. They're certainly not equal slopes, so these two lines are not perpendicular or parallel.